Hi, my friends. How are you today? Aaron here talking about some astrology. While the moon is in the sign of Cancer, the sun has just moved out of the deep-rooted sign of Scorpio, dealing with death and all things buried under the deep of our subconscious mind, into the sign of Sagittarius, the journey. Now, the moon and the sun play an interesting role together in these particular spots. The moon is home in the sign of Cancer. So the moon wants to be comfortable. The moon wants to hide out. The moon wants to just surround itself in its comfortable space and then kind of stay there. You know, this is about coming back home to self. And again, our comforts, pleasure, emotional comfort, what we're allowing ourselves, where we're allowing ourselves to be. You know, it's where do we have a safe space to lay our head at the end of the night? Where do we feel safe and vulnerable? You know, that kind of comforting space. So emotionally, the moon is coming home to this, which is very powerful. So this is like a great opportunity for one to get things done around the house, coming back to oneself through meditation, doing some yoga, some breath work, some good taking care of ourselves, taking care of our home, taking care of our environment. All right. But it comes with a bit of conflict as the sun moves through Sagittarius in its early degrees of Sagittarius, connecting with the South Node. Because the sun, right, representation of ourselves, the hero of the story, the moon is about our emotions. This is how we feel on the inside. Where the sun is, this is the energy that I'm projecting right now. And that energy is saying, go outward. It's saying journey, and the moon, this is where it's a conflict. This is a sesqui square. Let me show you here. So the moon conjunct the south, or the sun conjunct the South Node. Very, very powerful aspect. We're going to get into in a moment here. It happens once a year. Sesqui square, which is very similar to a quincunx, that 5/12 aspect, where these two signs and these two energies do not understand each other. Not only they don't see each other, this is the proverbial blind spot of the zodiac, the 5/12 quincunx or sesqui square. They simply don't understand each other completely, because the sun says, I want to go journey. I want to go on an adventure. I want to seek something new. I want to go down a path I've never been down before. I want to, what is this dark cave? You know, Mars and Mercury still here in Scorpio. And the sun's like, yeah, let's check that out. And there's no resistance, you know, or even the sun in the sign of Scorpio, it's like slowly, snakily maneuvering through the cave. And it's like, it's a slow process of you know, this is what I'm seeing, you know, and it's just like, let's check this out over here. Let's check this out over here. That serpent kind of energy, you know, and the Sagittarius energy is like, oh, what's in this cave? Let's go check that out over there. Let's shine a light on this. Let's explore. Let's find other people in this cave. Are there other people in this cave? What kind of animals live in this cave? What could we find? Is there writing on the wall? What culture made this writing on the wall? And what does it all mean? You know, so we have this huge sense of adventure, this beginning of a sense of adventure right now. And at the same time, the moon is saying, like, I just kind of want to stay cozy in my nest and in my comforting space. So these are very conflicting energies, but at the same time, this is saying I can find comfort and vulnerability in allowing myself to explore. Okay, and now the sun connected with the South Node, obviously opposing the North Node in Gemini. And they're about to switch. So the South Node is about to move into Scorpio to alleviate all this stuff. We'll talk more about that when it happens. North Node in Gemini, we're still in a place of seeking information, seeking knowledge, seeking answers, looking at both sides of the coin. This is your emotions, and this is how I feel about it. You know, is there a disconnect here? Are we on the same page? And if not, I need to honor and listen to your emotions. I need to honor and respect. Well, this is how you feel, or this is how you felt during that time. This is what you think, maybe not necessarily felt. All of the above. Felt, think, your observation. This is what you gathered through the connection. Gemini's connection, communication. This is a connection with other people. Sagittarius, this is also about connection with other people. And this is moving from, I'm not saying Gemini's small mind, but it's very individual and it's very small circle. Where the Aquarian energy, other air sign, is about the community at large. The Sagittarius energy has that community at large as well. But when we look at the fire signs, we can say Aries is the spark of self, the spark of the match. This is my fire, or at least the initiation to start the fire. The Leo energy is the hearth that keeps on burning. The sun, the sun that never goes out. That fire never dims. So that's the fire inside. That's this passion and excitement, vigor of life, and the Sagittarius energy is like this distant fire. We have to travel to get to that fire. It's not just here within myself. It's not the fire within the community. This is seeking outside of self. This is seeking great distances. I want to learn what's going on in India. What are their cultures? What is their, what is their philosophy? I want to know about, the Chinese philosophy or Japanese philosophies or Chinese medicines. I'm a huge fan of the medicines from down south. The Peruvians is why I go to Peru a lot. I have a curious mind. I'm curious about these medicines because here in Northern America, it's like we just give you drugs, pills, RX. True story. I got hit by a drunk driver when I turned 21. It was terrible, but it was exactly what I needed. It wasn't what I wanted, but it was exactly what I needed. Because, doctors at first, I had to have surgery on my hand and my back was all screwed up. Anyway, it was terrible. but then when doctors were just giving me these pills, a Band-Aid on a broken bone, I had to seek something outside of that knowledge that was just readily available for me. And that opened up to learning Reiki and all, sound baths and all of these different ways that the body, the mind, the heart can heal, the physical body can heal. And I think Western medicine, it's weird to say Western, North. Here we're in the United States. Our medicine, surgery, when surgery is absolutely necessary, it's wonderful. But as far as like prescription pills, drugs, something we've talked about on the channel before, that there's not a prescription drug that exists for an antidepressant that has a greater result than a drum circle. And it's so backward in our minds because we're not wired that way. We're told if something's wrong, take it, you have a headache, take an Advil. And if something's this, take this drug, over-the-counter pharmaceutical thing that's made in a lab. So it's like seeking outside of this normal thing expands our horizon. Not only does it expand our horizon, but it allows us emotionally here to find comfort. Like I find great comfort in the medicinal plants. And something else, again, Chinese remedy. I was at first just saying it, just throw it out there, and I was like, oh, let's jump on this, because it's fascinating. I want to learn more about Chinese medicines and natural remedies and share them more with you and my friends. So as well, just like that, it's almost like if I just tell an average person on the street that come to a drum circle, that's going to do more for you than the pill that you're taking for an antidepressant. That takes letting go of. We're talking about the sun conjunct the south node right now. It takes letting go of the knowledge that you've received or that we have received our entire lives that say, this means I need this, this ailment, this is the cure. And we've learned that the medicine here, it's not preventative. We're not looking at the causation of it. We're just kind of masking things. And it's something we're all becoming more and more aware of as we learn about this life and we learn about medicines. So it's like this unprogramming big time today into tomorrow, while the moon's in Cancer as well. This conjunction is within 8 degrees, and this conjunction is going to happen all the way through really till the 4th of December when we have the solar eclipse. Again, anything within 18 degrees of the node is an eclipse. So although in general astrology we'll look at 8 degrees of a planet, the nodes we know have an effect on the sun and the moon within 18 degrees. So although this conjunction is exact here on Tuesday morning or Tuesday afternoon, depending where you're at in the world, this conjunction is happening all throughout until December 24th. So we have this next journey here. It started with the eclipse, this lunar eclipse that we had on Friday morning, and the next 2 weeks, it's all about reprogramming our minds. It's about learning. 100 years ago, we didn't have the technology to know what was happening around the world. We just simply didn't have the knowledge. We had belief. We were in the age of Pisces. We had belief, and we had to believe someone who else that had traveled there or somebody else's experiences when they came back and shared storytelling. We just had to believe. Now we know. I know what's going on with my friends in Australia. I know what's going on with my friends in Switzerland. I know what's going on with the people in Peru. And you know what I mean? Like, it's very easy to connect with people around the world right now, the community at large, not just our little social circle. This isn't just the minds of our little group. This is the minds of many. And through the minds of many, we learn, oh my God, well, this is how my culture has been doing this. And now I get to look at how your culture, your group, your community is doing this. And wow, this makes a lot more sense than what we've been doing over here. I have to seek new paths, new alternatives, and let go of the conditioning. And Mercury deep diving in Scorpio still today. Mars only halfway through its journey, meaning we're going to continue during this eclipse season to work through these shadows. We're going to continue through really the rest of the year working through these shadows until the Mars conjunction to the South Node, when we finally release those actions and say, okay, I'm really willing to put this stuff to rest. So this is big. This is a huge growth in life. Not just for an Aries or a Cancer or a Virgo or an Aquarius. This is big. This affects every single person on this planet, every single sign, no matter where your planets are in your chart. We're all going through this existential dismantling. We're all going through this, I want to be comfortable. I want to stay in my comfortable space. I'm not sure if I want to learn something new. But then it's something we've talked about. It's like the homeless person is very comfortable in their space that they've created under the bridge or whatnot. But in all reality, that is not comfort. It's a comfort they're used to. They would much, you know what I mean? And I say that with much respect and care and empathy and compassion toward those individuals. But sometimes we have to have those hard analogies, those hard concepts to look at to like put things into perspective, So that's where we're at. It's finding out that the comforts that we have, where we want to stay vulnerable, where we're safe to open up. Here's another thing I want to talk about, because this is also important, because we're talking about the group, the bigger picture. I see women's circles a lot. And I love seeing the support of women supporting women. And the men's circles is a little bit smaller right now. But my brothers, I love supporting my brothers, and I love seeing the men's circles and the group circles. But what I don't see a lot of is combining those two together. Because it's like there's a certain sense of, I don't want to be vulnerable in front of a man. I was hurt by a man, or I was this, or many reasons. And then this over here, like the masculine can say, I don't want to be vulnerable and talk about or cry or show this weakness in front of a woman. And it's like, man, if we can't be vulnerable, but only to our own our own gender, sex, whatever you want to call it, whatever words identify with you. If we can only be comfortable within our own, if we can only be vulnerable surrounded by other men or with other women, how are we supposed to have a healthy relationship with them? If in a group setting, which Sagittarius deals with the group, this is starting to create a sextile over here, fire and air to Saturn, the community. where it's saying take responsibility. Jupiter still here and through December in the community, saying let's create an abundance of our community. Let's grow our community even larger. And it says, like, you know, there doesn't have to be a leader to the group. It's just taking the initial steps to make sure that it happens. To creating the environment, to creating the safe environment so that men and women can get together and be vulnerable with one another, so that we can share and we can learn. So that, you know, this is a big deal. I didn't mean to jump on that specific topic, but we're healing, you know. Is another thing. Oops. North node here. Communication, Chiron, healing of self. And it's just like, if we feel only safe and comfortable to only communicate within our gender or sex groups or our community, and we can't have the bigger, or let's race. You know, if we can't talk about race with races, we can only talk about race with other people of our same skin tone. You know what I mean? It's like, it takes responsibility to be able to do that. It takes courage to have those conversations, but they need to be communicated. We have to be able to open up. We have to link arms. We have to embrace one another. It doesn't matter what our skin tone is, our gender. We have to be willing to step outside of what we've been taught. We have to be willing to explore with enthusiasm, enjoy the differences and beauties of life. I, as a man, cannot give birth. I'm not equal to a woman. You know? I'm not. I don't have that. And just the same as I have the seed of life within me that a woman does not have. And you know, so it's like, having these conversations is valuable, and it's okay. And we need to explore those, and we need to do it with joy. And remembering that Sagittarius season is fun because it's a ruling, you know, the sign associated with Jupiter, which is an abundance of joy. Abundance. So we're allowed to do this, and we're allowed to be playful. The sun, playful energy of Leo. Be playful in these conversations, being playful in this exploration, being playful when it comes to things that make us feel uncomfortable or vulnerable. And then when they're going to have the moon, you know, in a couple of days, move into Leo, and it's going to be really exciting to continue to explore this, as the sun and the moon are going to trine to one another. Yeah. All right, my friends. That is enough out of me today. I hope you have a beautiful day exploring yourself, exploring conversations, exploring new paths, new avenues that might be different or uncomfortable originally, but will bring us a new sense of comfort, a new place that we can explore that vulnerable side of ourselves. I love you so much. I wish you enough, and I'll see you tomorrow.